Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report for the 29th of the 11th. Today we'll also cover ETH as well. So we've had this sharp pullback, and that's what we'll be talking about today. The reason why it occurred, I'm not too sure. The only news that I could find on that come out with this one here, with China confiscating 4.2 billion in Bitcoin from a scam. So they're basically putting this onto their national treasury books. So that's a nice little score for them. But at the same time, it was good to see them monitoring the situation as well. I mean, we also got to remember as well that 50% of the Bitcoin mining is done from China as well. So it's just, I think it's good to see them, focusing in on these sorts of things here. So still a lot of cleaning to do, but anyway, I don't know if that was the reason, the story behind it, but it's the sort of largest one I could see that sort of times in quite well. In terms of our Elliott wave count, we've been looking at this in a very positive light. We also need to look at it in a bearish light as well. But in terms of the positive light, we've been looking at it as wave 1 here and 2 here, and wave 1 and wave 2 here, and then wave 1 and wave 2 here. And then the move up through here, we can look at, it's a very powerful move, so we can look at it in terms of a third wave. And the interesting thing now is that this is my little yardstick here, as you may know, so that was just really the length of wave 1 roughly. And so putting it there near wave 2, so it's longer than wave 1 now. So it is possible that we could call that wave 3. So we're going to work both counts in that instance, and we're going to have a look at where wave 2 can pull back and where wave 4 can pull back. As I may mentioned before, I think we looked at a bearish count last time, didn't we? I'll just have a look on the daily chart, or where did I have that? Let me just check. Right, it was on my 2-day count. So this is a real possibility here. So in this case here, we'll look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and then going up for 3. But we could also look at it as a bearish count, as we looked at before, coming up into here. But I'd still need, for it to be bearish, as I mentioned last time, we would need to have it as an A wave, a B wave, and then going up for a C wave here. We'd need to have 5 waves in this sequence, right? So we still look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So as I mentioned last time, even though we were expecting a correction, I thought it may have, like many people, I guess, touch on the 20 there, but didn't quite get there. But even so, we were expecting a correction, and and this is why I put this video out, because even if it was going to be a reaction from this level here, that it wouldn't be the end of the bull run to the upside, because even to be bearish, would need this to be 5 waves up here, and we just don't have that yet. So on the ETH market, we could look at that in that regard. A little bit different, because this is also a weekly chart here. And in this instance here, we could, just looking at, we need to look at both sides. We need to be practical, because this is a market that's just really getting off the ground. So it's not established yet. So we just need to be a bit mindful of what we're looking at and keep our feet firmly planted on the ground. So the move down here is as an A wave, and then an A wave here, a B wave here, and then a C wave up to this point here. In this case, we can look at this in 5 waves here, right? So in this case, I'm just saying, right, I'm not saying that's it, but it is possible to have this here as an A and a B and a C wave for this market, and look at this as 5 waves in here, and then pull back down into this space here before moving off. Otherwise, we need to look at this as 5 waves up here, and then we need to look at this as an ABC coming back here and then moving off in that space. So while we're here, we might as well just continue in on this journey. We'll come back to Bitcoin if that's okay. So with that in mind, just squash this back in a little bit. We can look at this as an A and a B and a C wave up here, and then that means we'd have to look at this move down through here as wave 1, and then we would look at this as a corrective rally here, and then coming down for wave 3, 4 and 5, basically building to the downside here. If we look at it and we need to work both counts, and we will be working both counts, but if we were looking at it as a bullish count, then we can look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then an A wave and a B wave and a C wave for wave 2. Now, wave 2 can pull back to the 300 area here, but I think that's a little bit unlikely because 5 is the second strongest number in the market, and I just sort of see it as a magnet, you know, and I just see it sort of sticking to that space a little bit. It may come down to 400 or something like that, and we can expect it to come down as an A and a B and a C wave here at least. So if I can just move that across here, we'll go in and just have a little look at this for a moment. I'll just go to, I don't know if I've done anything on the 4-hour chart here for that. Oh yeah, I have. I won't go into a lot of this, but basically we can look at this being up here as wave 1 here, with an A wave here and a B wave coming back into this space and down for wave C here. So it, you know, not pulling back to the 300 area through here, which is also copy this, which is also a major level as well. Let's get rid of that. I don't think we need that. So I think that, you know, we finish off here and then we see another little 5 waves coming down here, something like this, don't know, like that, and then we find support here. So this is really the buying opportunity here. So getting support back on here is the safe trade. We could also buy and purchase down here as well. So I will try to look at this in terms of trading as well. So we'll look for some trade signals here for this. Yeah, so it's something that with ETH we consider. I'll just go into this a little bit further here into the 15-minute chart, just to pull this out for you. So we can first of all look at the move down here in wave A or wave 1, and this is how I've counted it. I had it counted a bit differently, but it's a little bit weird. The weird thing here, and the same within Bitcoin here, is that it's okay here. I've got 3 waves here. That's fine. I can work with that. But this one here is showing me 5 waves up, and this one here is showing me 5 waves down here. So it's a little bit tricky to count, but I'm just looking at it in some type of correction here, and then the C wave here. So a B wave here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So another little move to the upside here to finish that off. So into the 560, 562, 565, something like that. And then we can see that move down. Now, if for some reason that the market moves above this level here and finds support on it, then it's likely to go higher at that point. So then I would probably need to look at this here as the B wave here and the C wave sitting over here for this. But we won't go there just yet. But I do want to point out that this is the 61.8% in group 2 here. So if group 2 becomes the support, then we're going to be heading higher from that point. There's a bit of, this count works well here. The only problem I've got with this count is there's a bit of an overlap on wave 4 to wave 1 up here for this. And I have counted it the other way with wave 1 here and 2 here, then wave 1 here and 2 here, and pulling down that way. But I can see that all of this move here is all part of the same sequence. It's basically glued together. It's part of it. Where this is something else, isn't it? This is sort of a negative thing happening or positive thing happening to the downside, and then this is the opposite over here. So this is different from that. So yeah, a little bit tricky there. But anyway, let's move on to Bitcoin at this point. So what we can say here is, just to recap, is that we'll come up into group 2, close to it, and then we'll be moving down in 5 waves. Okay, and that 5 waves, I think if we go back to the daily chart here just for a start. Maybe I've got it on the 4-hour chart. That's the 61.8% all the way down here, but I don't think that's the case. I think that there's going to be some sort of equality between the two structures. We know that a lot of the corrections in this have been on the short side, so we can bring that down to this point, and then we can bring that down to there roughly. So that's also to the 400 is actually a medium level, so that's where the support is. That's the one that we'll be looking at that point. So yeah, I don't think it will pull all the way down. The other interesting point too, you know how we were looking at Bitcoin in a possible wave 3 going up here. Let me just bring this across here. So we're looking at this from wave 2 here, possible wave 3 up through here. This is my alternative count for the bullish market here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So that's all doable at that point as well. But if I go back to my other count here just for a moment, what's on the daily chart? We can just bring this into... So we can now look at this one here, just copy that as wave 3 here. So that's also the case, but it wouldn't be much, it would be the same as that one. So yeah, it's kind of, so I don't think, looking at ETH, I don't think we've got wave 3 here. Okay, it's technically it's correct, we can use it, but looking at ETH, it wouldn't fit in. So in this instance, we don't need this here now. Let's just clean this up here. Okay, I can leave that there. I'll take that. So I mean, also too, breaking out of this trend channel here tells me that we're in a third wave as well. So it could be this third wave. If that's the case, it will still be the same though, from this low here to that high here. Then that would bring us into the 38.2%, which is just here. So that will just take us into, I think that's the 15,800 area there. So in this case, we can expect a move up back into here and just to here, and then move up from that point. But if it's also too, let's just put this in here, if this is also a wave 4 here, we also need to view it as possibly being complicated here as well. So even though I'm just so far looking at an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, we also need to understand that we could even get a triangle, we could get a flat correction, we could get an expanded flat, we could get a few things going on through here. So it may not be an easy sort of journey through this point as well. 1580 is our first sort of support level, besides the 1650. The 1650 is a medium level. All medium levels are halfway between two major levels, so between 13,000 and 20,000 we've got the 1650. That's why it's playing out there. It was resistance over here, and now it's playing out the first support here. So it's important. Anyway, let's cruise into this a little bit further now. So just before we do that, we've got 1580, which would take this blue wave 4 or this orange wave 4, and then second from that we would have this wave 2 coming into play here, which will take us down a bit lower. But yeah, I suppose the only other thing that we could look at here, if this was 5 waves down here, then a correction here, then we could get a third wave down, a fourth wave, and a fifth wave here. So if we get a 5-wave sequence down here, I'm just saying, if we do that, then we're going to get an ABC point at that coming back. It's 50-60%, and then we're going to get another 5 waves down. So that's going to create the bear market at that point. So we need to understand that. So we'll keep an eye on this. So from the top here, if we get 5 waves down to the 61.8%, down to the 13,600 area, then we know that we're moving into a big bear market at that point. Okay, so we need to know that. So we'll keep an eye on all these things. Let's just drill in. I don't think the 4 hour is going to give us much here. Okay, so I've got, just to let you know, I've got 60,000 in Australian dollars now, which is 2.6 Bitcoin in this. I would like to buy lower. It means I have to shift money around from somewhere else. But I'll still just continue to buy my 1,000 a week anyway, at minimum. So besides that, we've had a couple of long trades in here, so they've been stopped out here. We didn't quite get to our target, so that's life. So this move down through here, it appears to be impulsive. So we're looking for a corrective move to come up now for that. I'm sure you've done all this work anyway in terms of retracements at least, so that will come in there somewhere. I'll take a closer look at that. So we'd have to get support on top of that level there if we were going to be bullish at this time, you know. There is a bit of a case, you know, a bit of a long shot, but it's possible to have this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here, by the way. Bit of a long shot, but I just thought I'd better point that out. But otherwise it counts quite nicely from here as wave 3 and 4 here, then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, fourth wave, and then a bit of a struggle up here for the fifth wave at this high here. This high had a different date than ETH as well. So I thought that was they didn't actually fall together. They had a different top here. But the interesting thing is when fear comes into the market, all the sort of same sector, they all kind of start moving together. So they're in that 15-minute chart that I showed you, Bitcoin will be doing the same. It's got the same issues with it as well. But 18 is the number here for this. So it may trade above the 18, but finding support on it brings in a different scenario at that point. So we'll just go, I've started working the 15-minute chart here rather than the tick chart, but not that it matters that much. So I haven't labeled this here. So we can look at, copy this. We can also look at this as wave 3 here now. And we can also look at, copy this down here for wave 4. Okay, so that's the wave 2 sort of area there. So this wave 4 comes in around 6:15. That'll do there. I'll put it in actually. So 15,800. Let's just nail that down a bit. Sorry, I'm a bit slow this morning. This is I want Sunday morning. So 15.8, that's the 38.2% retracement level for this wave 4 or this wave 4, where wave 2 can be a bit lower than that. So we'll see. Just things we've got to work out. Not that these two wave 4s are going to make much difference at this particular point, but it would be nice to know if we've got wave 4 or wave 2. Anyway, that will be one thing. And we'll probably know that if wave 4 is going, if this move across here gets complicated, then we'll know we've got this wave 4. If we're fortunate enough to get one more move up here and then 5 waves down here for this sort of thing, and we move up from that point, then we know that we'll probably have a wave 2 that's just moved in, hasn't pulled back to its 50-60% retracement level, but we noted that further in the trend as well that was occurring. So with this particular pattern here that we've got so far, see, one of my problems in counting this, I need to give it a bit more thought. So it's okay having 5 waves up here. I mean, I suppose that yeah, it's just a little bit tricky. Having 5 waves here and 5 waves here is a little bit tricky. I mean, that's why it's possible, even as I mentioned before, to have wave B here and then blue wave C here and finished, even though it hasn't made a low here because it's got 5 waves here. I mean, that spike here was also an ETH, but not as high. So, but it is a nice 5 wave structure here. So we just need to be a little bit mindful of this. Something's not quite, haven't quite got my head around that little bit there just yet. But what we're looking for here though is really just 1, 2. I need to check on that as well. Yeah, no, we've still got 1 more to go there too, so I'll better just adjust that. 5, 4, and 3. So I don't think that's actually, that's going to be 3. Let's just clear that up there, because I'm counting just here as 1 here and 2 here, right? And then the third wave goes into this space here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've still got wave 4 to come back and wave 5 to go up for wave 3 there. And then we've got this wave 4 here that can pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree there, and then wave 5 there somewhere. So we're going to be testing the upper end at that point. And this is the problem I've got to solve here, the ABC correction. I mean, I'm still getting used to this market as well, you know. So all its little idiosyncrasies, all the details, the devil's in the detail. So I mean, here we could probably look at it still makes that the low, doesn't it? I'll count that. It's just weird having 5 waves here and 5 waves here. It's difficult for me to put this B wave here. It's sort of like something's not quite right about that. But the C wave here, that's looking good. That's looking as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Like I say, if this market climbs up higher, say above the 1850, then we've got a bit of a problem at that point. Would be looking to the market would be bullish at that point, and then we'd have to tie this in as the whole correction coming down here. But let's just say for a moment that the market comes down here into the 15.8 area, or then I'll keep an eye on it, and this is where we can do some buying into this area. If you see how that's the resistance here. If this market is likely to come down here, bounce off that, spike down here, then come back up here and give us a classic trading levels pattern at this point, and then that would be your buying opportunity here for that. So I'll put that in now, because if you see that, that's just going to make it a little bit easier. And you know the classic trading levels pattern anyway, which is this one here. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC pattern, and then this here. So this is also basically what we're getting on ETH here as well, really. So we've got the arrival here, the reaction here, the first high above the level here, and we're getting an ABC pattern here, and then we'll go up from that point. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, so yeah, that's occurring across 5, and to me 5 is the second strongest number in the market. So this is looking quite good as a classic trading levels pattern sitting there. Alrighty, I've waffled on long enough. You've kind of got the picture that we're looking at. So just go to the our chart and recap this a little bit. So it's possible we've got wave 1 sitting up here, or wave 3 here, copy that, and wave 4 sitting at the 5, which is a bit higher than that actually, the wave 4 sitting here, which is probably the case here. So we'll just see how this sort of plays out at that point. So we'll give it a little bit more time, and that can go over there, that can go down to the 5-8 area there, that can go over to there. Could be a wave 2 coming back down to this point, but we think that having a bit of equality to this wave A here and wave C here. The other little thing that I should mention here as well, in terms of corrections, it's normally the A wave that is swift, right? It's sharp. So we really want to see, if I can just do this here, so coming down from the top here, I have to change that as the default. Don't know why that changed, but there we go. That's sleepy Sunday morning. But so the A wave comes down sharp, and then the B wave can be complicated or simple, because normally it's simple, complicated, simple. It can be simple, complicated, and more complicated as well, as long as they're just opposites. But this wave C here, what we want to see with this, like at the moment, this wave A coming down here and this wave C would be roughly the same, wouldn't they, in terms of speed? But what we want to see with the C wave is we want to see it on more of an angle like this, right? The more of an angle it is on, the stronger the next move's going to be to the upside. That's why corrections that are sideways are really strong, like triangles, and that's why they pop up. So we want to see that on more of an angle. If we see it sharper, it can't be much sharper than that wave A coming down here, but if we see it the same speed coming down, then we'll know that we're in for a third wave, and then we've got more of a bearish market at that particular point in time. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated.